Alrighty, guys, welcome to this episode 3 of Americans for Truth Live. I'm Pete LaBarbera, president of Americans for Truth about homosexuality. We are what our name says. We are a group which has been around a long time, in one form or another for more than 25 years. The group is called Truth About Homosexuality because we believe there is truth, and we believe the truth should be defended, and that's what we do. And there's a lot of lies in the culture about homosexuality, gay rights, transgenderism, you name it. But we're defending the truth, and defending the truth is not hate. In fact, we're doing that in the love of truth and in the love of God. I have some admin things for you. I'm here with my good friend Mike Heath, who's from a group called Helping Hands Ministry. Mike is a long-time pro-family activist. He's the only guy I know in the movement who actually was part of 2 separate statewide efforts that defeated discriminatory pro-homosexual legislation. Is that correct, Mike?
Yeah, way back in '98, and then again in 2001 in the great state of Maine. The people of Maine turned out in the majority, even though we were outspent 10-1 in both campaigns, and said no to big gay.
Right. And you know, I'm here in the People's Republic of Illinois right now, west of Chicago. And I think if the people got the right information about this movement, there would be a lot different results. But the media has decided that it is part of the gay revolution, and it is a revolution, folks. If you read the books by homosexual activists about the victories of the gay agenda, they call it a revolution because it is. It's a values revolution. But first, let's take care of some admin stuff. People will be able to join this show or link in with us. I'm kind of new to this whole thing, and if it wasn't for Mike and his son Jared, I'd be lost here. But also, there's a donate page. Mike, can you tell people how to donate to keep us on the air?
Yeah, we just made some improvements to the page. It's a lot prettier, so you all need to go and check it out. And I think Jared has shown it to you on the screen right now. And we'll take any size donation. Someday we're going to take micropayments because we're going to start working on getting set up to receive cryptocurrency, and then we'll be able to say, "Hey, give us a penny, or give us 5 cents, or give us 10 cents," and it'll make sense. But right now, of course, we're with the big corporations in control. It probably doesn't make sense to give a lot less than say $5 because you got transaction fees. It's crazy. But anyway,
well, we are, and why do we do this? Because the way big tech is set up right now with political correctness and the pressure of the amazingly powerful and well-funded homosexual activist, transgender activist movement, we're getting to a point where voices are just getting shut down, and we're going to talk about one of those today.
Yeah, and it's exciting, Peter. It's exciting. Give $5, $10, whatever. But give today. Go to that website and give. It'll be an encouragement to Peter. This is a brand new show. Remember back in the days when the only people who could do this live with a video, were people who could bring hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to the table in order to throw up an antenna and shoot the signal across a huge, big geographical area. Those were the only people who could do this. Was people who had lots and lots and lots of money. We've never had, Peter and I, lots and lots and lots of money. But look at what we can do, and
right.
we don't need lots and lots of money
to
defeat big gay.
Yeah,
but
big tech
we do a little bit.
Big tech giveth and big tech taketh away. It gives us the opportunity to do this, but it's also given huge companies like Facebook and Twitter the ability to basically squelch speech. And in fact, our Americans for Truth, our original Americans for Truth Facebook page has been wiped out and erased. Now, the same thing happened to Franklin Graham. I think they punished him once, put him in Facebook jail, and he protested. But the little guys, Franklin Graham got that back because people protested. But the big tech censors are after us. We're active on Twitter right now. We're thankful for that. But, it comes down to having our own platform. But some more admin, Mike. I want to have a verse of the day, guys. We're a Christian organization, and I'd like to have a verse of every show. And the one I picked for this show is a beautiful verse. Jared, if you could pick it up, 2 Corinthians 5:21 in the ESV. This is a beautiful verse in the New Testament. It says, For our sake, that's me and you, he made him to be sin who knew no sin, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God. And that's Jesus, who died for us. We live by that. We live by the truth that God can come in and change anyone's life. And so when we look out now and we see the secular world actually trying to ban, or they so hate the idea that people can leave homosexuality behind, that they're banning the therapy side. Now, let me make clear. People change through therapy. It's talk therapy, folks. It's like going to a psychiatrist or a psychologist. It's helped some people change. I have found, though, that most people who change have Jesus in their life. I mean, the other verse I wanted to mention was 2 Corinthians 5:17, which is the famous, the change verse. If any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things become new. Mike, I know that happened in your life, my life. We're both born again Christians, but that's open to anybody. And so if you are one of those people sort of confused, even maybe as a self-professed Christian, and you say, well, I believe that God made some people gay. Well, that would be God working against his own word, which he doesn't do. And so you have to understand that attacks on the idea of change, people coming out of homosexuality, are ultimately an attack on our Lord, Jesus Christ. And we're going to be talking about that throughout the show. We're going to be interviewing some amazing people who've had that experience in their life. And I'm excited about it, Mike, because these people don't get a voice even on Fox News, right? Even on Fox, you'd think one show on Fox would say, hey, these are wonderful stories. People like Stephen Black, Charlene Cothran, a wonderful former lesbian. You'd think, wow, let's get those on Fox News. But even Fox has become sort of politically correct, pro-homosexual on this issue.
Yeah, it's awful. And you've written the definitive work on that. It's on your website, americansfortruth.org. Yeah, a couple years ago, I think it was.
A few years back, yeah.
Yeah, you would you mention that real quick, because that's
if you could find it,
it's a really important.
It needs to be updated, Jared. It's a button on the right side of the website at Americans for Truth. You can do .com.org, but it's the Fox. It's a report about pro-gay bias at Fox News. There it is, and. It's a long report, but basically what few people understand is that Fox News has been sponsoring something called the National Lesbian and Gay Journalists Association, which is that's when Megyn Kelly used to be with Fox. And there she's pictured on the front cover of the report, basically appearing at this gala for the National Lesbian and Gay Journalists Association, which purports to be sort of a professional organization for gay journalists, but it's actually very tendentious. It's a biased, pro-gay, pro-trans advocacy group, even though they pretend to be unbiased journalists. And actually, Mike, this group, this NLGJA, they put out the talking points, the language, the terminology for news reporters. And so, like all institutions, the media has been corrupted by this activism, because what happens is you get an openly gay journalist in say, the New York Times, and they start saying, no, you have to talk about this issue this way. And everybody says, well, we should listen to the gay journalist. He knows the issue. And we've come to the point now where the bias is so great that essentially the secular media has become part of the gay lobby. They protect the homosexual activist, transgender movement. They promote it with words like transphobe and homophobe. I mean, why is it that only the left-wing words like transphobe and homophobe become part of the secular media jargon, but words that we've introduced, for example, when we see people like Wayne Besson, who's a very aggressive homosexual activist, go after people and try to get people shut down. He just succeeded in getting a very good Christian ministry shut down on the Apple app, the phone app for Apple. We coined a word, homofascism, for that, because it's undemocratic behavior. They're trying to silence people, but you won't find homofascism in the dictionary, I don't think. It's not widely used. And yet words like homophobe and transphobe, which are basically intended to smear people like us, Mike, they're everywhere, right? You see those everywhere.
Everywhere. And good people don't even see the effect that it's having on their thinking and on their actions.
Oh, absolutely. And I joke about it, Mike. I don't know if we're, I guess one day I'm a homophobic transphobe and the next day I'm a transphobic homophobe. I mean, think of it. The word phobia, it implies an irrational fear. Now you look at the dictionary and they've expanded the term to mean, strong opposition or somehow inordinate opposition to homosexuality. But what they do is they take these words, they know what they're doing. I think the word homophobe was invented by a guy, I think his name was George Weinberg. I need to go back and check. Look that up, Jared. But this was created. This was a word that was created, and of course it was created to stigmatize people on the opposite side. And it's a microcosm of what we face in the entire movement, right? Because what they're doing, this whole agenda is Isaiah 5:20 in action. Good is evil and evil is good. And so rather than homosexual practice being stigmatized or gender confusion, of the likes, Bruce Jenner, pretending to be a woman, rather than that being stigmatized, what they're doing is they're now, you've got it. I guess you've got it right there. George Weinberg. Okay. Rather than homosexuality being stigmatized, what we're doing is we're stigmatizing opposition to homosexuality. And they've even studied it in psychological circles. Oh, let's research homophobia. And it's always like that. In the gay theology circles, they want to make homophobia a sin rather than homosexual practice a sin. And so, this is the way it is, Mike, and this is why we're here, right? Mm-hmm. And Amen. So I want to talk about a couple stories, Jared. If you've got the one, we mentioned, I didn't know this had happened already, but we mentioned the church. Well, let's do Kai Feldman first. Okay, we've got Kai Feldman on the screen. This is a victory, one of our rare victories of our movement. Kai Feldman is a lesbian, open lesbian. She's an atheist, and she was appointed by Obama to be on the EEOC, which is the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. It's a government agency. And of course, she worked as a gay activist. And Jared, do you have the quote there that this is a woman who said basically on the issue of gay rights versus religious freedom, right? She said this is a zero-sum game. In other words, somebody loses, somebody wins. And she actually told my friend Bob Knight, who's a great culture warrior. Bob Knight, just look him up as Robert Knight on the writes for the Washington Times. But he overheard her say once, I think she told him directly, look, Bob, gays win, Christians lose. In other words, okay, we've got the quote here. Homosexual activists, everything in the battle of gay rights versus religious liberty. For example, Jack Phillips, the cake baker, did not want to use his artistic talents, which are very great, to create a cake honoring homosexual so-called marriage. And so he refused, and he won at the Supreme Court. And now he's going to have another battle because now they're going after him on the transgender issue. But here's the quote from Kai Feldman, which I believe sums up her entire philosophy. And I'm going to read it. Quote, there can be a conflict between religious liberty and sexual liberty, but in almost all cases, the sexual liberty should win because that's the only way that the dignity of gay people can be affirmed in any realistic manner. Then she says, I'm having a hard time coming up with any case in which religious liberty should win. Okay, so there you have it. Gays win, Christians lose. Now, what Mike Lee did, and go back to, do you have his number on this? Can you put it on the screen, Jared? I have it memorized. It's 202. This is Senator Mike Lee, Utah. He put 202-224-5444. Mike Lee put a hold on the renomination of Kai Feldman to be on the EEOC. Trump did not reappoint her directly, I don't think. Through some machinations of the U.S. Senate, she ended up being reappointed, and we're like, what? Trump said he was standing for religious liberty, and he's going to allow the reappointment of Kai Feldman, who's a gay activist who believes gays win, Christians lose in all these legal struggles. I mean, do you mean that we have to be, bakers and Christian photographers need to be forced to serve these weddings, which are basically honoring an evil idea? I mean, come on, that two men can get married. I mean, that may be legal, but it's not moral, and it will never be marriage in the sight of God. And so Mike Lee put a hold on Kai Feldman's renomination, and lo and behold, she's out. she announced last week on Twitter. She said, she was saying that she's parting from the EEOC, and everybody was congratulating her on the liberal side. But call Senator Mike Lee's office and thank him for standing up for religious liberty, for natural marriage, for everything that's good and right as a conservative, what we defend. Senator Mike Lee, 202-224-5444, and call him and thank him for having the principles and the guts to just enable this easy victory. Because what's happened, Mike, and we're going to be talking a lot about this, is in the last, especially the last 5 years, the Republicans have peeled off this issue, something fierce, and barely even engage, at least, especially on the federal level, defending natural marriage between a man and a woman. Now, Trump didn't help on that because he foolishly, right after he won election, he sat down on a 60 Minutes interview, and he basically disavowed it, said, well, the fight over gay marriage is pretty much over, Mike. I don't remember the exact words, but that was Trump being sort of getting, pressed by the liberal media, and right away he gave in. And so, we have to fight to keep that issue alive. The marriage will always be between a man and a woman, and yet, Trump disavowed that. But we need to keep the Republican Party engaged. And if you're a Democratic Party and you're watching this, fight within your own party. Of course, the Democratic Party has become the tool of the abortion and homosexual lobbies. Big homosexuality, big abortion dominate the Democratic Party. And I would love to see change there too.
Well, Pete, I stopped thinking years ago in terms of the parties. I don't think of myself as a Republican or a Democrat anymore. In fact, I only registered as a Republican recently because of Donald Trump's candidacy for president. And I couldn't be, even though I voted for him, and even though I'm enthusiastic about voting for him again when he runs for 2020, I couldn't be more disappointed in him on this particular issue. I can't think of one thing he's done or said that gets anywhere close to this issue that doesn't make me furious.
Are you talking Trump?
Yeah, Donald Trump.
Well, he's done some things. He's trying to put some kind of restrictions on transgender, transgender.
I didn't know that. That's great.
Activists in the military, yeah, but he hasn't done enough, of course. But he is saying that he's for religious liberty. And Jared, could you pull up that other quote by Kai Feldman that I hope I gave you? Okay, this is a piece I wrote for Whistleblower, which is a print magazine for WorldNet Daily, WND.com. And now here's Kai Feldman. As usual, Mike, there's always a backstory with homosexuality and transgenderism. Whether it's Walt Heyer, who's a great ex-transsexual, his grandmother, when he would visit his grandmother and she was alone with him, she would dress him. This is Walt Heyer. His website is sexchangeregret.com. We're going to be interviewing him, sexchangeregret.com. But Walt Heyer, he ended up becoming a transsexual. But when he was a young boy, his grandmother would dress him in a purple chiffon dress. Can you imagine? So there's always a backstory. And here's Kai Feldman. Now, I don't have it here. And Jared, I don't know if you could pull it up later, but I believe she had a tragedy when she was young with her mother, I believe it was. And she ended up becoming an atheist. Here, her name, Kai in Hebrew means life. And she's quoted, she says, if you believe as I do that sexuality, she's an open lesbian. If you believe as I do that sexuality is a wonderful thing, and if I believed in God, I would say it is a wonderful thing given by God, which is exactly what the gay activists now say, right, Mike? I mean, that's gay theology. My sexual orientation is a gift from God, which is an utter blasphemy. But let me go on. She said that for some people, sexuality can best be expressed with a person of the same gender, and that this is a wonderful, life-affirming experience. Then the teaching of these religious groups, which would be our teaching, that homosexuality is wrong, is not loving and redemptive at all, but destructive. Okay, so Kai Feldman has made the mistake of so many homosexual activists. They are so deluded. I feel for them because they've turned truth on its head. Again, Isaiah, from the same Hebrew scriptures, the same Hebrew that gave us her wonderful name, Kai Feldman, life. The scriptures give us life. God said, choose life. And here she is flipping God's truth on its head, saying that her sexual orientation, her same gender sexuality, which is a perversion, it's an abomination according to Leviticus. But she's saying, being against that is not loving and redemptive at all, but destructive. And we'll see in this show how this lobby, this homosexual movement, this transgender movement, because as I said, I believe yesterday, they are so desperate to affirm their own, what they believe is their identity, but it's not really who they are. It's who they're not. But they're affirming a lie in their own life. And so it drives them to demean and ridicule and mock and distort true Christianity and Judaism, what we call Judeo-Christian historic truth. And so that's the story of Kai Feldman, and we'll get that later, maybe in another show. But back to the screen with Mike Lee, Jared. I so commend Senator Mike Lee, because all we're asking for is our elected officials to stand for religious liberty. It shouldn't all be on Trump. It's on every elected official. And what you can do as a viewer, if you are, I don't know if you call yourself Republican, conservative, whatever, but you believe in God's truth on this issue, what you can do is start meeting with even the lowest level official or politician that you know, maybe it's your local precinct captain in your neighborhood, or maybe it's the local state Republican, but meet with them and explain what's going on and urge them to be principled on these issues. But Jared, now let's go to our second story. And remember, call Mike Lee, 202-224-5444. Our second story is one we mentioned the other day, Mike. I did not know that this pastor had already been forced out. This is the sign that said, this is in a little church 4 hours, I believe, north of San Francisco. I don't know. I don't have the town there, but it's a small little town. And the church's name is, let me get this right. Jared, do we have that? The name of the church, Trinity Bible Presbyterian Church, and he put out on a church sign, and this is
Pastor Justin Hoke.
Yes,
Pastor. I don't know if I pronounced that right.
I think you.
But he's a hero.
Yes, Pastor Justin, and
a hero. We should have him on the show, people.
We will have him on the show. Do we have his proper name? I want to make sure we get it right, Mike.
Yeah, it's written in the notes. It should be on the screen.
Hoke. Okay. Justin Hoke, and bless him. God bless him. He put out on his sign. And the sign says, Bruce Jenner is still male. Homosexuality is still sin. The culture may change. The Bible does not. And now he's out, guys. Because that brave church, that they had the choice between, am I going to stand with God or am I going to stand with the culture? And okay, Jared, bring us the sad news. That story from Christian Headlines. What happened to him? He's out, guys. He's been let go. Here's the headline. I'm sorry, that was the headline. Church removes pastor for sign declaring homosexual sin a sin. Bruce Jenner a man, and he's gone. And I want to take it. This guy's got class, because go to his Facebook page, Jared. He simply said, you could click the more there for that message. This is Justin Hoke. He's now former pastor at Trinity Bible Presbyterian. And here's what he said. He said, many people have reached out asking if they could help me in some physical or monetary way. I am really thankful for such thoughts and offers. But I don't want to use this 5 minutes of fame as a chance to capitalize on the sympathy and goodwill of others. The Lord has taken care of my needs. Please pray. Now here's where you show what a godly man this guy is, Mike. Please pray that God would open more doors for me to preach the gospel. That is all I want or need. Thank you all, Justin. So here's a guy who wants to reach people with the gospel of Jesus Christ. He loves God. Is there anything false? I challenge that church. In fact, maybe we all should challenge Trinity Bible Presbyterian. Tell us what's false on that Bible message. Is Bruce Jenner still a man? I think so. I mean, we don't have a DNA test. I'm sure if we took one, I think you can't change your DNA, folks. I'm not a DNA denier. I think that's Cliff Kincaid's line. Cliff Kincaid, another great American. You can't change your DNA, folks. Bruce Jenner is still a man. He's got a lot of people trying to help him to be a woman. He had a famous photo of him shot by, I think it was Annie Leibovitz, the most famous probably photographer in the world. She did his. Can you pull up that Vogue cover, Jared, of Caitlyn Jenner? I think it was Vogue magazine. You know, he had lots of money put into this idea that he's a woman now, but he's not. And was it wrong? I'm sorry, Vanity Fair, wrong magazine, wrong leftist leaning magazine. It's Vanity Fair. Call me Caitlyn. And there's my. Oh, I was so distraught when I saw this because I grew up. I was a young, playing tennis and young athlete, and Bruce Jenner was one of my heroes. Where's that Cheerios box, guys? He won the decathlon, and he was a man's man, and now he's I don't know what he is, but he is a man, folks. And so let's challenge and let's issue a formal challenge right here and now to Trinity Bible Presbyterian Church. We challenge you to go to that sign, Pastor Justin Hoke's sign. Tell us what's wrong about this, and you have to use the Bible. What part of this sign? Let's read it again. Bruce Jenner is still male. Homosexuality is still sin. The culture may change. The Bible does not. Okay, which part of that message is unbiblical? We challenge you, whoever the new pastor is, or I pity the guy who's the new interim pastor. How about everybody who preaches at Trinity Bible? What is it? Trinity Bible Presbyterian. Where is that message wrong from a biblical perspective? Tell us. We want to know. Inquiring Christians want to know, Mike.
Pete, we've only got 2 minutes left, but I'll take a quick stab, and it'll take only 10 seconds. If you look at the slogan on the top of the sign, it says, "God is good all the time." I think their response would be, the pastor's message was not.
The pastor's message was bad.
Not. It was not. It was not. It was not good. Meaning, it was not nice.
Well, I think the quote's in the story, Mike. We could look it up, but we only have a couple minutes. Maybe you better do your how to donate pitch, and then we can close out because time's flying on the show today.
Yeah, bring up that page again, Jared.
Wait a minute. Wait, before you do that, Mike, we've got the quote. I don't see it now, but maybe you could read it there, Mike, from somebody from the church. We go.
We've really had to refine our message to be one strictly of love and support for anyone who feels like they are the target of the sign.
Okay, so it's not loving.
Yeah, debating religion is unproductive, for one, and we also don't want anyone to feel like we are against Christianity as a whole. People are
okay.
That makes
okay.
Sense.
Feelings. Folks, this is why I'm speaking next month at the God's Voice Conference, which is answering a lot of this pro-LGBT baloney that's going to be flooding the church. godsvoice.us. That's godsvoice.us. We'll be talking a lot about that. But Mike, show us how to help this show keep going.
Go to americansfortruth.com, americansfortruth.com. They say to say things 3 times so that people will remember it. Actually 7 times. But anyway, americansfortruth.com 4 times. And click the donate button, which Jared just did. And here's the beautiful page, which you can trust. And then you go through there and just give us your information and make a donation, $5 or more, anything, and do it today to encourage us. And if you know folks who can make larger contributions and they are not comfortable making that through the website, all the contact information is on the website. Please reach out to those folks who could make a sizable contribution. We need to talk to them.
Yeah, and they can write us at Americans for Truth, all written out at gmail.com. Americans for Truth at Gmail. And Mike, can you show them how to go to also to sign up for our email, our weekly email? It's on the right side of the website. Click that button. It's down a little bit. It's sign up for After E-News. That's a great way to be, we're going to have archives of every show, which is we're daily. We'll be on tomorrow at noon Central Time, 1 Eastern Time, Mike. And the email helps you stay involved with Americans for Truth and know what we're doing.
Yeah, and these shows make great little memes, on Facebook, 30 minutes long, and they're thoughtful, and we're backing everything. We're substantiating everything with documentation, video, as well as written, and shoot them around, shoot them to your grandparents and shoot them to everybody. And
the important thing about the show is we're going to be more aggressive in defending God's truth than the LGBTQ activists are in defending their lies. And they are very passionate and very good at what they do. But what they're doing is destroying the moral fabric of this country. And they are robbing religious freedom. We'll be talking a lot about that because they want to make it, they want to squelch people like Wayne Besson, a very nasty gay activist. He does not like the idea that people have left homosexuality. And so he tries to deny that it's even true. But the reality is you can leave. If you're struggling with homosexuality, you can leave it behind.
And we are done for today. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, folks. See you tomorrow.
Hey, guy, how you doing?